Hey, I'm glad to see you came back for part two. We're going to be building this change gear for an Atlas 618 lathe. It's a 24 Diametral pitch with a 14.5 pressure angle. I'm going to cut it with a hob. You can see right away that it's got two keyways on opposite each other in the center hole. So the first thing we're going to have to do after we cut our blank out of some aluminum, we're going to have to put keyways in it. There's a lot of ways to put keyways in. I'm just going to show you how I did mine. This is my keyway cutter. See the relief on the end of the cutter there? You can see it pretty good there. It's a 1/8 inch piece of a lathe tool. I cut it with a Dremel tool to fit inside here. It's just got a round hole in it, 1/8 of an inch hole, a little bit bigger than an 1/8 of an inch, big enough so that the 1/8 of an inch fits in there tight. And then in the end, I put in a 1032. No, I don't think that's a. Yeah, 1032 set screw. Yep, that's what that is. Okay. Now, what you do before you get started is you put your put it in there so it's in the keyway. Okay, it's in there nice and tight. And then you loosen it up. And then push it through so that when you reach the end here, that's the depth of your keyway right there. So you just go until this piece of metal is touching the side of your hole and you've cut your keyway to full depth. And I just use it in my mill. A lot of guys do it on lathes, things like that. It doesn't really matter. I just wanted to show you how I made it before we start using it. Second thing I wanted to show you was once we're done with the keyway, now we're ready to make a holder for it so that we can move it from the lathe to the mill. And I've made lots of different types of holders over the years. I got a whole box full of different types that I've used for this and that and the other thing. But for this one, I like this one here. It's cut on the lathe so that it's a nice tight fit. Okay. Then the hole is drilled through the center here, and this is just a bar, and that bar still moves, but that's going to grab your keyway. But if you're making one that doesn't have a keyway, you can just pull it out. If you need a keyway that's bigger, you can go 190 over and drill a bigger hole. Then my cap, I always drill a relief in it. Nice slide on the cap. Another again, nice tight fit. And a 1032 cap screw on the end, and that's how we'll be holding the gears down. Okay, let's go over to the whiteboard and do some math. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of math to figure out. We need first to find out what the outer diameter of the gear blank is. What diameter are we going to cut the aluminum to? So you take the number of teeth. The gear we're going to make is going to have 44 teeth. We're going to add 2 to it. And then we're going to put that over the diametral pitch of the gear we want, which is 24. And that equals 1.91816. And so that's the OD of the blank that we're going to make. Now, once we've got our blank made, we're going to take it over to the mill and we're going to cut. We have to know how deep we want our hob to cut. What is the depth of the teeth that we want to use? And your depth of your teeth is another constant, 2.157 over your diametral pitch, which in this case is 24. So our depth is going to be 0.0898. And that's how deep we're going to make our cuts there. Alright, that ought to do it. So let's go over to the saw, cut out a blank, and then take it over and put a keyway in it. Okay, I got a little bit ahead of myself here. I actually cut the keyways and forgot to turn the camera on. But it's pretty simple. This is the blank I brought over. I mounted it in my mill. I drilled the hole. Okay. Then once I had the hole drilled, I put this in here. I lined it up along the y-axis, or the x-axis rather, I'm sorry. And then I put a hose clamp. You can't see the hose clamp, but there's a hose clamp so that it won't spin anymore. And then I just simply drop it down like that, cut a little bit, move it a little bit on the x-axis, cut it again, move it a little bit, cut it again, and then I flipped it 180 and did the same thing on the other side. And that's how I cut my keyways. I guess you could do it on a drill press. I've never tried it on my drill press. My mill is I got a mill drill, and it works just fine. But that's how I cut the keyways. Now let me mount it on the arbor. We'll take it over to the lathe and we'll cut the OD. Okay, I forgot, but before we go over with our blank in for turn down, we want to put our 3-jaw chuck in here and with a pointer and center it up with the center cutter on the hob. And that one will cut the depth, and then the one above it and the one below it, they'll cut the involute curve while the hob is going around. So now it's all lined up and it's ready. We'll put the blank in there, turn the blank down and over on the lathe. Okay, I've started cutting, making the passes for the cuts. The passes are made at 0.005, so that you have to make light passes so that you cut your involuted curve with your top and your bottom teeth, so they come out nice and smooth. So this is going to take a little bit of time, but I'll come back every once in a while, take some pictures, and put them all together for you so you can see how the cut went. Alright. That should end it. Alright, this is my stereo microscope setup, and I'm sorry that it's not used for making movies. That's a television screen, but I've got the gears set up, and I've got them in a depthing tool. I made this depthing tool, I don't know, about 10 years ago, I guess. It's designed by W.R. Smith. It's really good for when you're depthing the gears to mate properly. So I'm going to turn my camera on. I'm going to put it right on the screen, and so what you're going to be seeing is the screen. And I'll turn them around so that you can get a good look at how they mesh. And of course the silver one is the one we just made, and the black one is the one that came with my Atlas lathe. Alright, here we go. I took a black marker and I marked this tooth, so we should be able to see it when we come back around again, so we're not just going in circles. But you can watch how they mesh. Yeah. And of course the silver one is the one that we made, and the black one is the one that came with my Atlas. Starting to lose it here. Hold on. There we go. I don't see any problems. I've been around it a couple times before I did this one, but I don't see anything. Everything looks pretty good under the microscope, actually. Okay, we're coming back up. There's our black mark. So we made a complete revolution. And that's pretty much what they look like. I don't see a lot of difference between the Atlas and the one that we made. In fact, I don't see any difference at all. But there you go. You can go slow, and maybe you can move it in a little bit more with your computer. I don't know. But it looks pretty good from my end. I had the microscope set up. So I thought I'd give you some shots of the hob. Here's the hob after cutting that gear. Let me see if I can get it into a position. There's your slitting saw marks. There's your actual teeth. Let's see if I can turn it around a little bit here. It's hard to do this. There we go. There you go. There's your cutting edge coming around now. And the next cutting edge. Still got a little aluminum on it. Little flicks and flacks of it. But plunge cuts are neat as hell. There's no chatter marks or anything on those plunge cuts. They came out pretty sweet. Alright, just thought maybe you wanted to see the hob. That's what it looks like really close up. Alright. Okay, I guess this is what it gets down to. We got it mounted now on my Atlas. This is it sitting right here like that. I got it to spin. It's going to spin pretty quick, but you'll get an idea of how it spins on the lathe. Here you go. There you go. Not much different from anything else. The spur gear, it's an involute gear. It makes a little bit of noise, but it's turning pretty good there. There's no chatter or anything like that. Good gear. I've been using a 48 tooth gear on the lathe off and on for a long time now. Like it a lot. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. If you made it all the way through to this part, thanks a lot. Have a good night.